At 5 a.m., the wise close their mouths and open their ears, because at 5 p.m., the laws will do the talking. Write that down. Obey the law at 5 a.m. Let results speak at 5 p.m. No noise, only proof. I'm going to challenge your religion of announcements tonight. Stop telling us what you're going to do. Schedule obedience and let the evidence testify. When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Matthew 6:6. Secret obedience, public reward. What did I say? Say it out loud. Secret obedience, public reward. Success is not a pursuit. Success is a result. Please write that down and tweet it if you want, but don't tweet at 5 a.m. Hashtag later. Success is predictable because laws are predictable. You don't break laws. Laws break you. If you jump off a building, gravity doesn't hold a meeting. The judgment is built into the law. In other words, when you submit to the right laws in private, you schedule your public outcomes. Oh dear, I think I'm preaching better than you're responding. Are you here? Now, define this with me. Laws, L-A-W-S, law aligned, work in silence. Write that down, circle it, highlight it. Laws is not a cute slogan. It's a covenant posture. Between 5 and 7 inches the morning, you align your work with immutable principles without the need for applause. No posting, no boasting, no proving. Silence is not shyness, it is strategy. The seed does its best work in the dark. If the seed keeps yelling, "Look at me," and refuses to be buried, it stays a seed. In other words, stop marketing potential and start cultivating results. In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you and watch. Psalm 5:3. Watch what? Watch laws go to work. Let me give you a picture. A young man, let's call him Darius, came to me frustrated. He said, "Doc, I'm grinding, but nothing's moving." I said, "No, you're posting, not obeying." We made one change. From 5 to 7 a.m., silence and submission. No phone, no feeds, laws. He prayed to align, planned to obey, practiced his craft, reviewed a principle, and sent quiet service messages to 3 people. 90 days later, he didn't need to tell anyone he had changed. His calendar told on him. Clients started rearranging their schedules for his. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. He did not promote, he produced. What manner of man is this? One who obeyed at dawn and let dusk do the talking. Write this next line in big letters. Silence compounds. Noise dissipates. The internet rewards noise. Life rewards laws. Jesus, rising a great while before day, went out to a solitary place and prayed. Mark 1:35. He wasn't hiding, he was aligning. The crown of the day sits on the first 2 hours of the morning. If you mismanage the court of dawn, you forfeit the verdict of dusk. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Stop looking for hacks, look for laws. If you want predictability, marry discipline. If you want miracles, obey instructions. What did I just say? Obey instructions. Laws at dawn, results at dusk. Say it back to me. Laws at dawn, results at dusk. Again, laws at dawn, results at dusk. Don't clap right. Don't shout schedule. Don't announce apply. When your feet hit the floor at 5 a.m., you are stepping onto legal territory governed by laws that do not negotiate with your mood. The thermometer reports temperature. The thermostat sets it. Choose which you will be. The path of the righteous is like the first light of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until the full day. Proverbs 4:18. Brightness is not luck. It is lawful progression. So here is the opening charge. Covenant with quiet. Close your mouth. Open your mandate. Replace performance for people with obedience to principle. For the next season, let your 5-7 a.m. be a courtroom where you present your case to laws. And let 5 p.m. be the press conference you didn't call. What did I say? Laws at dawn, results at dusk. Shh. Let laws speak, and they will. Now, let me take you deeper. Mornings are not mystical. They are legal. Write that down. Laws, not luck. govern the first light. There's a difference between a law and a rule. A rule is cultural, convenient, and adjustable. Like, don't email your boss before 9 or post your workout for accountability. A law is universal, immutable, and built into creation like gravity, sowing and reaping, cause and effect. You don't need a policeman for a law. The judgment and the reward are inside it. In other words, rules require enforcement. Laws produce consequences. Say this out loud. You don't break laws, laws break you. Again, you don't break laws, laws break you. Tweet that to somebody later after 7 a.m. The morning is legal territory because it is aligned with laws that do not care about your feelings. The law of rhythm, your circadian design, clears the fog when the world is quiet. Decision traffic is at its lowest. The highways of your mind are empty. The runway is open. The tower is clear. That's not magic. That's mechanics. When the city is sleeping, the competition is zero. Your brain chemistry has not yet been taxed by 1,000 negotiations. That is a law. In other words, clarity comes easier when noise is absent. Focus deepens when interruptions are few, and momentum compounds when you push the first domino early. If you throw a ball up at 5 a.m., gravity does not negotiate. It will come down. If you sow thought into solitude at 5 a.m., productivity will come up at 5 p.m. Predictable, legal, built in. Jesus, rising a great while before day, went out to a solitary place and prayed. Mark 1:35. Why? Law. He obeyed the law of solitude before the noise of crowds. He didn't start with people. He started with purpose. He didn't begin with demand. He began with alignment. He kept a law, not a trend. Those who seek me early will find me. Proverbs 8:17. That's not poetry, that's policy. And seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added. Matthew 6:33. First is a law word. If you mismanage first, you forfeit addition. Write that down. First fruit focus attracts lawful addition. Let me provoke you a little. Some of you are enslaved to noisy rules that keep you from quiet laws. The rule says, if you don't post it, it didn't happen. The law says, if you don't practice it, it won't happen again. The rule says, respond to every ping immediately. The law says, guard your gates or thieves will manage your attention. The rule says, the world starts scrolling at 6, join them. The law says, enter your secret place, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Successful people always break the rules for the sake of the law. Write that down. They break the rule of public proving to keep the law of private preparation. They break the rule of instant replies to keep the law of intentional priorities. They break the rule of late nights for the law of early strength. Here's another law. The first thing sanctifies the rest. If the first 2 hours are governed by principle, the next 10 will be managed by purpose. If the first moments are auctioned to noise, the entire day is sold to distraction. In other words, mornings magnify whatever you marry. If you marry law, you magnify clarity. If you marry noise, you magnify confusion. The seed in good soil at dawn doesn't need applause to grow. It needs silence and submission. What did I say? Silence and submission. So stop calling accidental what is actually lawful. Early clarity is not luck, it is alignment. Early focus is not personality, it is policy. Early momentum is not a mood, it is management. The morning is a courtroom where laws preside and feelings sit in the gallery. Present your case, prayer, planning, principle before the jurors of time, attention, and intention. And by evening, the verdict will read, compounded progress. Say it again with me. You don't break laws, laws break you. Therefore, break the noisy rules that drain you and keep the silent laws that crown you. When you step onto that 5 a.m. runway, you are entering legal airspace, low traffic, high lift, guaranteed laws. Obey them and watch your day rise on schedule. Now let me give you the predictability you've been craving. And I want you to write this down in big letters. Reverse Joshua 1-8 before sunrise. The verse says, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, But you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Did you hear the sequence? Mouth, meditate, observe, do then. Success is not a surprise party. It's a scheduled appointment with laws you kept in the dark. In other words, success is the result of lawful observation and consistent doing, not comparison or chance. Say that out loud with me. Success is the result of lawful observation and consistent doing, not comparison or chance. Now, reverse the verse. If by 5 p.m. I want prosperity and good success, then by 5 a.m. I must schedule what I will do. To do it, I must first observe it. To observe it, I must meditate on it. To meditate on it, I must put the law in my mouth, speak it, write it, chew it until it enters my schedule. What did I say? Observe the law, obey the law, outcomes obey you. Again, observe the law, obey the law, outcomes obey you. Tweet that later, not now. Let me correct the superstition. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer. It comes by keeping laws. Write that down. Prayer reveals the law. Obedience produces the result. James says, he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in what he does. James 1:25. Notice, the blessing is in the doing. So at 5 a.m., stop asking for what law already promised. Start aligning with what law already requires. God's favor does not replace your function, it empowers it. Favor without function is frustration. Here is your tool, the results journal. This is not cute stationery. This is legal paperwork. 3 M's, write them down. Meditate, mandate, metric. Meditate is truth. One law, one verse, one principle before the sun. Put it in your mouth. Read it out loud. The diligent hand shall rule. Proverbs 12:24. A soft answer turns away wrath. Proverbs 15:1. Seek first the kingdom. Matthew 6:33. Mandate is today's obedience. Translate that law into a time-blocked action. If the law is diligence, the mandate is 60 minutes of skill practice from 6-7. If the law is order, the mandate is write and send the 2 contracts by 10. If the law is honor, the mandate is craft 1 thank you note and deliver it by noon. Metric is proof by 5 p.m. Define what will testify. A draft sent. A practice law completed. A meeting scheduled. A temptation declined. Evidence, not emotion. I taught a young woman, let's call her Amara, this very thing. Her mornings were inspirational. Her evenings were disappointing. I said, Amara, you're meditating, but not mandating. You're inspired, but not measuring. We opened her results journal. The hand of the diligent will rule. Mandate. Practice typography drills for 45 minutes. Prepare 1 client-ready mock-up. Metric. Send mock-up to Marcus by 4:30. She did it for 7 days. On day 8, Marcus moved his Friday to review her work. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. She didn't chase favor. Her function attracted it. That's law. Success is predictable when your morning becomes a factory for observe to do. Please hear me. Observation is not watching YouTube. Observation is identifying the exact behavior the law demands. Doing is not busyness. Doing is the scheduled execution of that behavior. So at 5-7 a.m., your mouth declares the law. Your mind meditates the law. Your eyes observe what it requires. Your hands schedule and do it. And at 5 p.m., your calendar testifies. Then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. You make your way, not your boss, not the algorithm, you. So here is today's assignment. Before sunrise, choose 1 law, speak it, write it, and sit with it for 5 focused minutes. Translate it into 1 mandate with a clock attached. Set 1 metric that can stand up in court by dusk. At 5 p.m., ask, what is my evidence? If there's no evidence, there was no obedience. If there is evidence, there will be compounding. In other words, meditate on a law, translate it into a mandate, and measure it by dusk. Success becomes schedule. What did I say? Observe the law, obey the law, outcomes obey you. Now, Schedule it. Now that you can reverse Joshua 1 to 8 before sunrise, let me hand you the simple machine that makes it automatic. Write this down. 5 royal blocks. Say it back to me. 5 royal blocks. Prayer, planning, principle review, practice, people, text. That's the cadence. That's the engine. 2 quiet hours become a daily factory of lawful momentum when you run this sequence without negotiation. And here is the governing rule. Please write this in capital letters. Silence until 7. No social media. No inbox. No news. No noise. Protect the law from the rule of distraction. The morning is a courtroom. Do not invite clowns into a court case. Where the word of a king is, there is power. Ecclesiastes 8:4. Mornings belong to kings who keep laws. What did I say? Mornings belong to kings who keep laws. Block 1 is prayer identity before activity, purpose before people. This is not babbling. This is alignment. In the morning, I will direct my prayer unto you and will look up. Psalm 5:3. Prayer places you under the law first, resets your throne identity, and tunes your will to God's. In other words, you remember who you are before you decide what you will do. This is the P of purpose and the P of prayer kissing each other at dawn. 5, 10, 15 minutes of consecrated focus, mouth, heart, and ears, so your day begins as a son or daughter of a king, not as a slave to demands. Write it down. Identity governs energy. Block 2 is planning strategy before struggle. This is where you translate what purpose whispered into time blocks on a calendar. The law here is order. The tool is your schedule. Let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Planning converts lawful intent into appointments with obedience. It is perception and planning, 2 of the 10 P's working together. You decide what will be done, when, and for how long. No vague hopes, clear commitments. In other words, success is not a to-do list. It's a time-done list. Say that out loud. A time-done list. Block 3 is principle review, truth before task. 1 law a day keeps confusion away. This is not a devotional to feel better. This is a legal check to think straighter. You read 1 principle, 1 proverb, 1 law of your field, and you ask, what does this require of me today? That's the P of principles, anchoring your emotions to something stronger than mood law. The entrance of your words gives light. Psalm 119 to 130. Light doesn't negotiate with darkness. It displaces it. In other words, you do not start with opinion. You start with ordinance. Block 4 is practice mastery before marketing, skill before status. This is where potential meets persistence and grows into perseverance. Pick the craft that carries your assignment and put sweat on it in silence. Do you see a man diligent in his work? He will stand before kings, Proverbs 22:29. Not before followers, before kings. Practice is your lawful deposit. Promotion is the compounded interest. You don't need to announce your reps. Your results will announce you. Tweet that later. For now, obey the law of repetition. Write it down. Reputation is the echo of repetition. Block 5 is people text influence without noise. 3 quiet messages of service, sent with no hint of neediness. Just checked on that deliverable. Here's a resource I made for you. How can I help today? That's the P of people, service focus, value forward. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours, and service is the lawful path to influence. Jesus said, whoever wants to be great must be your servant. Matthew 20:26. In other words, stop chasing attention. Start delivering advantage. Now see the flow logic. Identity stabilizes your soul. Strategy, planning, structures your day. Truth, principle, steers your judgment. Mastery, practice, strengthens your value. Influence, people, spreads your impact. That is royal order. That is how kings govern mornings. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. It is the glory of kings to search it out. Proverbs 25:2. Search out your day by law, not by luck. And keep the fence high. Silence until 7. Break the rule of instant reply to keep the law of focused dominion. If you open the gates, thieves of attention will plunder the city of your mind. If you lock the gates, laws will build you a fortress by noon. Write this last line big. A simple 5-block sequence turns 2 quiet hours into a daily engine of lawful momentum. Each block carries the 10 P's: prayer and purpose, perception and planning, principles, potential and passion, persistence and perseverance, and people. So a routine becomes a rule of life. Do this for 30 mornings. And 5 p.m. we'll begin writing your biography without your permission. What did I say? Mornings belong to kings who keep laws. Now, set your 5 blocks. Set your silence and take your throne at dawn. Block 1 is prayer. Meet the king before you meet the crowd. Write that down. Prayer at 5 a.m. is not announcements. It is alignment. It is not a press release. It is a private briefing. Jesus, rising a great while before day, went out to a solitary place, and there he prayed. Mark 1:35. Why before day? Law. Why solitary? Law. He did not begin with people. He began with purpose. He tuned the instrument of his will to the key of the kingdom before he played a single note in public. What is prayer at 5 a.m.? Say it back to me. Purpose alignment, not problem panic. Please hear your pastor tonight. Prayer does not replace work. Prayer reveals which work is lawful today. Tweet that later. In other words, prayer is the steering wheel, not the spare tire. Some of you only pray when you already crash. No. At dawn, you align with the plans of God so you don't waste hours fixing what disobedience broke. I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Jeremiah 29:11. Plans exist. Prayer discovers them. Law exists. Prayer reveals it. Joshua 1:8 says, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. Meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do. Then you will make your way prosperous. Observe to do. Prayer puts the law in your mouth so your schedule can put it in your hands. Write that down. Let me give you a format so you stop wandering in circles at dawn. 3 simple movements. Gratitude for 2 minutes. Purpose confession for 5 minutes. Today's obedience request for 5 minutes. That's your 1-2 minute ignition. After that, go to planning. Don't stretch it to an hour to feel holy and then be late for life. The law is first, not long. Are you hearing me? Gratitude, 2 minutes. Enter his gates with thanksgiving is a law of access. For 2 minutes, no begging, no bargaining. Name what he already did and what he already is. Thank you for breath. Thank you for a mind. Thank you for mercy that was new at 5 a.m. Thank you for purpose that didn't expire at midnight. Gratitude cleans your lenses. You can't read laws through a fogged heart. Write this down. Thanksgiving is the key that opens the courtroom. Purpose confession, 5 minutes. This is where Jeremiah 29:11 becomes your mouth's language. Put purpose in your mouth to evict panic from your mind. Say it out loud. Father, you have plans to prosper me in my assignment, not to harm me. I am not random. I am sent. I am not a victim of algorithms. I am an agent of the kingdom. I am a steward, not an owner, a thermostat, not a thermometer. My gift solves problems. My diligence attracts kings. Today, I will not chase noise. I will obey law. That is meditation. Mouth engaged, mind absorbed, so you can observe to do. Joshua 1-8 is not poetry. It is policy. If you keep the law in your mouth at 5 a.m., you will keep it in your calendar by 7 a.m. Today's obedience request 5 minutes. Now you ask for clarity, not comfort. Lord, show me the one lawful assignment you require today. Who must I serve? What skill must I practice? What contract must I send? Which temptation must I pre-avoid? Ask for doors to open where law approves and to close where ego craves. Ask for courage to schedule it and grace to finish it. This is not a shopping list. This is a staff meeting with the CEO of your destiny. Bring your results journal. Listen for an instruction, not an Instagrammable sentence. If you hear nothing dramatic, obey the last clear law you already know. Laws don't need fresh height to work. They need fresh obedience. Let me rebuke a lie gently. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer. It comes by keeping laws. Prayer reveals the law. Obedience produces the result. Say that. Now, don't pray to feel better and then violate the schedule you just confessed. That's spiritual entertainment. At 5 a.m., you are issuing legal orders to your day. Align your heart, write your mandate, and move. Those who seek me early shall find me. Proverbs 8:17. Early seekers become lawful doers. Early alignment prevents late apologies. I taught a young designer, Naomi, to do this. She used to start with, Lord, fix my clients. I said, no, start with, fix my alignment. Gratitude, purpose, confession, obedience request. 3 weeks later, her prayer shifted her posture. She stopped pleading for miracles and started scheduling mandates. By 5 p.m., clients were moving meetings to review the work she had already sent. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. She didn't pressure people. She obeyed a law. So tomorrow at 5 a.m., meet the king before you meet the crowd. 2 minutes of gratitude opens the gate. 5 minutes of purpose confession sets your identity. 5 minutes of obedience request writes your orders. What is prayer at 5 a.m.? Purpose alignment, not problem panic. Say it again. And after you align, go to work on schedule. Laws reward obedience, not noise. Block 2 is planning, writing the day's laws into appointments. Please write this down. Success is scheduled obedience. Say it back to me. Success is scheduled obedience. Planning is not a suggestion. It is a law of stewardship. The plans of the diligent lead surely to advantage. Proverbs 21:5. Not maybe surely. Advantage is lawful, not lucky. In other words, planning converts lawful intent into time-blocked obedience you can measure. Tweet it later, not now. Now we bring perception and planning together, 2 of the 10 P's in covenant. Perception asks, what truly matters to purpose? Planning answers, when exactly will it happen? If your perception is clear but your plan is vague, you will still fail by 5 p.m. Write this down. A clear why without a scheduled when is still disobedience. Jesus said, which of you, intending to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish? Luke 14:28. Sit down is planning language. Count the cost is time language. Finish is 5 p.m. language. You don't break the law of priority. If you ignore it, it will break your day. Here is the simple template, 1 page, not a novel. Top 3 outcomes that fit your purpose. 190-minute deep work block, 130-minute admin window, and a hard stop time. That's it. Write it and live it. Write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. Habakkuk 2:2. If it isn't plain, you won't run, you will wander. If it isn't on the plan, it isn't in the purpose today. Say that out loud. Again, if it isn't on the plan, it isn't in the purpose today. Top 3 outcomes. These are not tasks, they are results. What will exist by dusk because you obeyed at dawn? Example, draft and send proposal to Carla. Complete 45 minutes of skill reps and archive proof. Confirm Thursday meeting with vendor. Why these? Each must serve a law. On your 1-page plan, write 4 columns. What, why, when, measure by 5 p.m. The why is the law it serves. Diligence, order, honor, stewardship. The when is a clock, not a hope. 6-7:30 deep work, 10:30 11 admin, 4:30 send. The measure is evidence. Proposal sent. Practice log exported. Calendar invite accepted. In other words, planning is legal paperwork. Your day should sign its name by 5 p.m. The 90-minute deep work block is non-negotiable. Guarded like a lion. That is where your gift compounds. Do you see a man diligent in his work? He will stand before kings. Proverbs 22:29. Kings do not interview the distracted. Schedule your mastery when your brain is brightest early. Turn off pings. Close the door. Let your calendar become a wall. If you sacrifice your deep work to shallow requests, you broke the law of priority. Expect a penalty at dusk. The 30-minute admin window is mercy for the mundane email, triage receipts, quick approvals. Contain the sand so it doesn't bury the stones. Ephesians 5:16 says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Evil there means friction and waste. Redemption happens by boundaries. Give the trivial a pen, not the microphone. Now the hard stop time said it. Even God stopped. On the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made. and he rested. Genesis 2:2. Rest is not laziness. It is law. Your stop time protects tomorrow's dawn. If you let today bleed into the night, you will rob tomorrow's clarity and violate the law first. Write this down. Undisciplined evenings murder disciplined mornings. So you set a stop time, you tidy your desk in 5 minutes, you reset tools, and you preview your 5-7 a.m. blocks. That is lawful stewardship. Let me prove this with a story. A young project manager, Evan, was drowning in other people's urgency. I said, Evan, you are breaking the law of priority. Schedule your priorities or someone else's rules will schedule you. We built his one-page plan. 3 outcomes, 6-7:30 deep work on the risk report, 10:30 admin, 4:45 stop. Why? Diligence, order, honor, Sabbath. Measure, risked, report delivered. Inboxes at 0, meeting confirmed. He did it for 10 days. On day 11, his VP moved a team session to match Evan's availability. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. He did not become arrogant. He became lawful, and the organization adjusted. So here is your assignment at dawn. Immediately after prayer, sit, write your one-page day plan, 3 outcomes that match purpose. Assign the 90-minute deep work block first. Drop in a 30-minute admin window. Fix your stop time. For each item, write the law it serves and the evidence required by dusk. Then say it one more time. If it isn't on the plan, it isn't in the purpose today. And if someone tries to rent your morning with their emergency, check your plan. If it fits the law you already chose, schedule it. If not, honor your covenant. Planning is how kings govern hours. Planning is how you make laws visible by 5 p.m. Block 3 is principle review, truth before task, law before labor. Write this down. 1 law a day keeps confusion away. Say it back to me. 1 law a day keeps confusion away. This is the moment between 5 and 7 where you stop negotiating with your feelings and submit to something stronger than mood, law. Feelings are weather, laws are climate. Feelings change every hour, laws change nothing. Jesus said, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock, and it did not fall. Matthew 7:24-25. Rock is law. Sand is feeling. Rock doesn't care about the storm. It outlasts it. Write this down. Build on what's written, not on what's wavering. Here is how we keep the anchor tight. Every morning, review 1 immutable principle and define its behavior for today. Don't study everything. Choose 1 law and make it legal in your calendar. That's why I call it principle review, not principle browsing. The entrance of his word gives light, Psalm 119 to 130, not noise. In other words, light doesn't debate darkness, it displaces it. Your mind asks, what is the 1 law I must obey today? Your pen answers with behavior you can measure by dusk. Let me give you a simple rotation so you never wonder what to review. Write this down and put it on your wall. Monday purpose. Ask, what was I born to finish? Behavior. Say no to 1 request that doesn't serve your assignment and yes to 1 that does. Scripture. I finished the work you gave me to do. John 17:4. Tuesday perception. Ask, how do things really look? Not how I feel. Behavior. Clarify outcomes with 1 decision maker before you work. In all you're getting, get understanding. Proverbs 4-7. Wednesday potential. Ask, what can I do that I've never done because I've never tried? Behavior. Add 1 new rep to your practice block. Stir up the gift of God. 2 Timothy 1-6. Thursday, passion. Ask, where will I apply energy to duty, not drama? Behavior. Give your first energy to the hardest lawful task. Zeal for your house has consumed me. Psalm 69-9. Friday principles. Ask, which proverb will govern my choices today? Behavior. Pick 1 proverb and obey it in 1 meeting. The diligent hand shall rule. Proverbs 12:24. Saturday people. Ask, who can I serve without fanfare? Behavior. Send 3 value-forward texts, no strings attached. Whoever wants to be great must be your servant, Matthew 20:26. Sunday prayer, persistence, perseverance. Ask, where must I endure? Behavior. Reaffirm your covenant. Worship and pre-commit your week's deep work. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Now, why this works? Laws create environments. A seed on tile doesn't grow. Environment law is non-negotiable. You can pray over tile, prophesy over tile, fast over tile. Nothing grows on tile. Put that seed in soil, give it light and water, and it obeys the law of life without your applause. In other words, choose your environment before it chooses you. That's why principal review must happen before people. You're placing your mind in lost soil, so your actions have somewhere to take root. Tweet this later. Shortcuts are the longest way to success. Say it again. Shortcuts are the longest way to success. Breaking process breaks you. Honoring process builds you. Here's the 3-step method. Write it down. Read, restate, require. Read 1 law, 1 verse, 1 principle, 1 rule of your craft. Restate it in your own words so your mouth owns it. Diligence today means 90 focus minutes with the phone off. Require 1 behavior by 5 p.m. and attach a metric. Not be diligent, but complete page 2 of the proposal and send a caller by 4:30. James says, be doers of the word and not hearers only. James 1:22. Doers require behavior. Hearers admire principles and stay the same. Let me prove with a story. Darius, a young sales lead, lived by mood. Fridays were chaos. I told him, Friday is principles. Pick 1 proverb and obey it in 1 meeting. He chose a soft answer turns away wrath. Proverbs 15:1. Behavior. Reply to the angry client with calm. Offer 1 solution. Set a boundary. Metric. Client accepts revised delivery by 3. He did it. By 2:40, the client apologized and agreed. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. He didn't manipulate. He obeyed law. So tomorrow, when you reach block 3, don't scroll review. Pick your day's principle, buy the rotation, write the behavior for today, and set the evidence by dusk. Feelings will scream. Laws will stand. Anchor your emotions to law, and the day will submit. What did I say? 1 law a day keeps confusion away. Now, read it, restate it, require it, and let 5 p.m. testify. Block 4 is practice skill before status. Write this down. Practice is the lawful deposit that pays public dividends without promotional debt. Say it back to me. Practice is a lawful deposit. This is where potential marries persistence and produces proof. Do you see a man diligent in his work? He will stand before kings, Proverbs 22:29. Not before followers, before kings. Paul said, every athlete exercises self-control in all things. I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. 1 Corinthians 9:25-27. That is practice language. Discipline is not a demon. It is a door. Deep practice means 30 to 45 minutes of focused, measurable rehearsal of the gift that solves a visible problem. What do we practice? The gift that purchases our influence. Say it loud. The gift that purchases our influence. If your gift is writing proposals, your practice is tight paragraphs under time. If your gift is coding, your practice is solving a specific bug pattern with clean tests. If your gift is selling, your practice is the discovery question set at speed with sincerity. If your gift is design, your practice is 1 layout, constraint, 10 variations, feedback, fast. Don't practice general, practice surgical. Influence is not bought with slogans. It is purchased with solved problems. Design your drill. Single skill, specific drill, clear rep count, immediate feedback. Write that down. 1 thing, 1 exercise, a number, a mirror. Single skill, choose the narrowest action that moves the needle. Closing paragraph clarity. Left-hand scales at 90 BPM. Cold open without filler words. 10 cold emails rewritten for value first subject lines. Specific drill, define the method. Rewrite paragraph 3 times with a 10-word cap. Play C major with metronome at 90. Deliver 6-0, second open standing. Record it, rewrite 10 subject lines to a 3-5 word promise. Clear rep count, don't wander. 9 reps, 15 minutes. 2 takes, 10 lines. Immediate feedback. Compare to a standard, not your feelings. Listen back. Check error rate. Measure response. Get a senior's quick note. If the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. But wisdom brings success. Ecclesiastes 10:10. Drills are how you sharpen the axe. Meetings are where you swing it. Now, listen carefully. LeBron doesn't post his practice, he posts the trophy. Work now, noise later. David didn't live stream killing the lion and the bear. He announced a head in a valley because he had proof in the forest. 1 Samuel 17:34, 37, 51. Stop previewing what you haven't proven. That's the rule we break today. No posting practice. Post performance after proof. Jesus said, your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Matthew 6:4. In other words, the law is secrecy in rehearsal, visibility in results. Tweak that later, not now. Your morning is not a stage. It is a studio. Some of you are asking, but Pastor, won't they forget me if I don't post? Write this down. Obscurity is cured by excellence, not exposure. Exposure without excellence is dead. Excellence creates demand. When your reps are real, kings send for you. They sent for David, not because he was cute, but because he could play skillfully. 1 Samuel 16:17. Skill purchases summons. Let me give you a living example. I mentored a young analyst named Jordan. Gift financial models. Problem, his models were accurate but slow. So we built a 3-0-minute drill. Single skill, fast scenario toggles. Specific drill, rebuild the revenue tab from scratch with name ranges. No mouse 3 times. Clear rep count 3. Rebuilds 30 minutes. Immediate feedback. Compare timestamps and error checks with a template for 2 weeks. Silence at dawn. No posts. On day 15, his manager dropped a 4 p.m. board request. Jordan shipped a clean model by 3:10. The board changed their schedule to review it before another item. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. He didn't beg. His practice brought speed. His speed brought respect. Guard the conditions. Silence until 7 still stands. No music with words. No ping parade. No mirror admiration. Your deep practice is for God and growth. Whatever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord. Colossians 3:23. Heartily doesn't mean loudly. It means wholly. Set a timer. Name your drill. Do your reps. Log your evidence in the results journal. Adjust tomorrow. That's potential plus persistence. Potential is what you could do. Persistence is how often you do it. Proof is what you actually did by 5 p.m. Say this with me. Practice purchases proof. Proof purchases influence. Again, practice purchases proof. Proof purchases influence. You don't break the law of diligence. If you ignore it, it breaks you with irrelevance. So tomorrow, choose 1 gift-linked skill. Design 1 tight drill. Set 1 rep count. Demand immediate feedback. Don't preview, just produce. And let 5 p.m. post for you. Block 5 is people text. This is influence without noise. Write this down. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. And you don't buy that with shouting. You earn it by serving. Say it back to me. Influence is earned by serving. Jesus said, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Matthew 20:26. That is not poetry. That is policy. In other words, the law is service first, status later. So at dawn, after you prayed, planned, reviewed your principle, and practiced, you will seed service quietly. No trumpet. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Matthew 6:4. The law is generosity before gravity give, and the day will rearrange itself toward you by dusk. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Luke 6:38. That is a law, not a lottery. Here's the rule of this block. Please write it down. Send 3 value first messages before 7 a.m. and make no asks for yourself before noon. Say that out loud. No asks before noon. Why? Seed time and harvest. Genesis 8:22. You can't harvest what you didn't see. You don't break seed time. If you ignore it, it breaks your expectations. So we serve 3 people with 3 kinds of messages. Solve, connect, or appreciate. No links to your portfolio. No, check out my thing. You are not fishing for likes. You are sowing for leverage. Sow your seed in the morning and in the evening. Do not withhold your hand. Ecclesiastes 11:6. Morning seed brings evening witness. Template 1, solve. 1 person, 1 problem, 1 resource. Keep it surgical. Message, morning, name, notice, specific challenge they face. Your team is shipping updates weekly. Here's a resource that could save you time, money, risk, link, or 1 page you created. 2-bullet summary. How it helps 1-2 lines. No reply needed, use and share if helpful. Cheering you on. Did you feel that? No pitch, no pressure, pure value. Write this down. Generosity without agenda is a magnet. Proverbs says, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in the power of your hand to do so. Proverbs 3:27. If it's in your hand at dawn, deliver it. Template 2, connect. Influence increases when you broker solutions between others. Message, morning, name A, I know, name B, 1-line authority ops lead who cuts cycle times by 20%. Would you like a brief intro later today about specific overlap your supply bottleneck? No, ask for me, just think you'll both benefit. If yes, I'll send it after lunch. Listen, this is not asking for a favor for you, this is offering a bridge for them. You are serving 2 people with 1 sentence. Law, a good name is better than riches, Proverbs 22:1. Bridges build your name. Template 3, appreciate. Celebration validates value and multiplies trust. Message, morning, name. Thank you for specific acts staying late Friday to fix the vendor issue. Here's the measurable impact I saw. It saved the team 2 days. I learned 1 line. Grateful for your standard. That's it. Specific, measurable, and God-honoring. Encourage one another and build each other up. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Let another man praise you. Yes, Proverbs 27:2. But you become the other man for them. That's lawful honor. Now measure it. What you measure by 5 p.m. you can multiply next week. Open your results journal and add a people text page, 3 rows for the 3 messages. Columns, name, category, solve, connect, appreciate, send time, evidence by 5 p.m., reply, book call, problem solved, next step. Target metrics, write this down. Reply rate above 50%, at least 1 book call per week from Solve or Connect, and 1 tangible problem resolved per week you can name. In other words, influence is visible, track it. If nothing returns by 5 p.m., adjust tomorrow's seed, not your silence. Laws reward iteration. Let me prove it with a story. A young founder, Mara, adopted this block. Day 1, she sent a solve to a COO with a 1-page she wrote on onboarding. A connect offer to link a product lead with a UX researcher. And an appreciate to a vendor who hit a crazy deadline. No asks. By 2:10 p.m., the COO replied, this is gold. Can we talk Thursday? At 3:30, both the product lead and researcher asked for the intro. By 4:15, Mara was on a 3-way thread scheduling a discovery. By 4:55, the vendor offered preferred pricing because working with you is easy. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. She didn't pitch, she planted. The harvest came looking for her. Say this with me. I seed value in the morning so harvest finds me in the evening. Again, I seed value in the morning so harvest finds me in the evening. No posts, no parades, just living law. So tomorrow, choose 3 names with intention. 1 you can solve for, 1 you can connect, 1 you can honor. Write the message the night before to reduce friction. Send them between 6:30 and 6:55. Close the phone. Go do your work. Let 5 p.m. testify. Replies, log, calls, book, problem solved. Silence is not hiding. It is lawful stewardship that starves vanity and feeds mastery. Serve 3 people in silence and let influence compound by reciprocity, not by noise. Now hear me, because this is where many gifted people lose their harvest by lunchtime. We are going to break a rule today for the sake of a law. Write this down. The rule we break is the culture of constant broadcasting. The law we keep is the discipline of compounding. Say it back to me. Break the rule of broadcasting. Keep the law of compounding. Anyone who wants to be successful must break the rules for the sake of the law. Tweet that later, not now. In other words, silence is not hiding. It is lawful stewardship that starves vanity and feeds mastery. Jesus already framed this strategy. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Matthew 6:4. Secret is not shame, it is strategy. Open reward is not hype, it is harvest. Proverbs says, a prudent man conceals knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims folly. Proverbs 12:23. Oh dear, did you read that? Fools are loud, the wise are lawful. Paul says, aspire to live quietly, to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands. 1 Thessalonians 4:11. That is not passive, it's potent. You don't break the law of focus. If you ignore it, it breaks your fruit into fragments. Moral legal frame. Please write this down. God never judged a quiet worker. Judgment is built into the law of vanity. Time wasted posts, no returns. Galatians 6:7 says, whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. If you sow your dawn into applause, you reap an empty evening. If you sow your dawn into obedience, you reap open reward by 5 p.m. Vanity is a thief with no jail. It sentences you to mediocrity with a smile. Break that rule today. Identity. Pivot now. This will save your soul from performance addiction. Celebrate leads to celebrity. Only after celebrate leads to consistency. Write it. Celebrate consistency, celebrity. Be celebrated for outcomes, not updates. Post fruit, not flowers. God did not ask you to narrate your seed. He asked you to multiply your talent. Matthew 25:14-30. The faithful servants didn't live stream the investment. They reported the return. Success doesn't clap for effort. It honors evidence. Practical guardrails. Because some of you love ideas, but you need fences. Number 1, phone sleeps in another room. Say it with me. Phone in another room. Number 2, do not disturb stays on till 7 a.m. Non-negotiable. You are not that important before sunrise. Your purpose is. Number 3, pre-decide your no's. Write them down tonight. No to morning scroll. No to early commentary. No to just checking the feed. No to posting practice. No to replying to bait text. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Be still is a decision. No is a result. Stillness purchases knowledge. Noise purchases confusion. Add 2 more guardrails for the overachievers. Shift before share. No sharing until something shift by dusk. And proof before praise. No self-congratulations until the results journal testifies at 5 p.m. Ecclesiastes 3:7 says, there's a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Dawn is for silence. Dusk will do the speaking. What did I say? Dawn is for silence. Dusk will do the speaking. Let me prove it with a story. Kira, a brilliant designer, was exhausting herself posting process shots every morning. Hearts up, invoices down. I told her, delete the apps from 5/7. Practice in secret. Post only ship outcomes on Fridays with metrics. She obeyed. 3 weeks later, her Friday post wasn't a mood board. It was a delivered landing page with a 31% lift in signups. A founder message. Can we hop on a call? By Monday, a retainer. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. She didn't sell noise, she sold numbers. Law rewarded silence. Say this out loud. My silence is seed. My results are speech. Again. My silence is seed. My results are speech. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. Proverbs 17:28. If fools look wise when quiet, imagine how kings look when silent with a plan. So tonight, set the fences phone out, D&D on, no's pre-decided. Tomorrow at dawn, keep your mouth closed and your hands busy. Let laws talk at 5 p.m. Silence is not hiding. It is lawful stewardship that starves vanity and feeds mastery. Open your journal, because this is where dust becomes a witness, not a rumor. Write this down. What you measure by 5 p.m., you can multiply next week. Say it back to me. What I measure by 5 p.m., I can multiply next week. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. If it isn't written, you will not run, you will wander. Success is not a pursuit. Success is a result of obedience to laws you can verify. Luke 14:28 asks, who among you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost? Counting is measurement. You don't break the law of stewardship. If you ignore it, it breaks your results into excuses. Here is the ledger, 4 words. Write them at the top of every morning page. Law, mandate, metric, testimony. Law, today's governing principle. Mandate, what I will do, the behavior that incarnates the law. Metric, how I will know by 5 p.m. number. Timestamp, binary, yes, no. Testimony, what happened by 5 p.m. Evidence, reply, delivery, outcome. In other words, meditate, translate, calibrate, and let dusk narrate. Joshua 1:8 again. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. Meditate, observe to do, then you will make your way prosperous. Meditate is law. Observe to do is mandate. Prosperous is testimony, and the bridge is metric. Example, put this in your head right now. Law, diligence, Proverbs 12:24. The diligent hand shall rule. Mandate, 90 minutes, deep work on proposal alpha. Phone off 5:37. Send draft to caller by 7:10. Metric, sent yes, no by 7:10. Caller reply by 5 p.m. Testimony at 5 p.m. Sent at 7:07. Caller replied 3:48. Locked in review tomorrow. Calendar invite placed. Another law. Seed time, Genesis 8:22. Mandate, send 3 people. Text, solve, connect, appreciate between 6:36:55. Metric, 2 replies by 5 p.m. 1 call booked this week. Testimony at 5 p.m. 3 sent, 2 replies by 2:10. Connect, schedule Thursday. Revelation 12:11 says, they overcame by the word of their testimony. Your 5 p.m. page should sound like victory, not vibes. Redefine success. Now, write this down. Success is not what you did compared to others. Success is what you did compared to what you were supposed to do today. Say that loud. Success is obedience to today's assignment. Stop grading your calling on another person's timeline. God will ask you, did you do what I gave you? Not, did you outdo them? John 17:4, I finished the work you gave me to do, not the work you saw on Instagram. Finish your page. Scorekeeping, because feelings lie, colors don't. Draw 5 little boxes down the left margin. Prayer, planning, principle, review, practice, people, text. At 5 p.m., mark green for done as mandated, red for missed or modified, no yellow, green or red. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. Every Sunday, open a fresh page titled Review. Count your greens over sevens. Log 3 testimonies with evidence. List 3 frictions that cost you obedience, sleep, space, social, and write 1 adjustment for each. Proverbs 27:23 says, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. Your flocks are your mornings. Know their state. Now the feedback loop, this is where adults are separated from amateurs. If 5 p.m. is silent, adjust tomorrow's law or method, don't negotiate the standard. What did I say? Adjust law or method. Don't negotiate the standard. The standard is obedience by dusk. If your metric was vague, make it binary. If your mandate was too big, slice it to a lawful first inch. If your law didn't leverage today's priorities, choose a sharper one at 5 a.m. But do not lower the demand for evidence. Galatians 6-7 still stands. Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. If you sow ambiguity, you reap excuses. If you sow metrics, you reap multiplication. Guard the instrument. Use paper if your phone tempts you. Use a simple app if you must, but disable the circus. Top of page. Date and theme. Middle, the 4-line ledger. Left, the 5 boxes. Bottom, a 5 p.m. line. What did the day say? Read it out loud to yourself at dusk. Let your ears hear your obedience. Psalm 90:12. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Numbering is counting. Counting births wisdom. Say this with me 3 times. I do not guess. I measure my obedience. Again, louder. I do not guess. I measure my obedience. One more time. I do not guess. I measure my obedience. Tweet that later, not now. Make 5 p.m. testify. When your ledger speaks, your week scales. What you measure by 5 p.m., you can multiply next week. Stewardship now. Because obedience is not only about action, it is about removing the weights that make action heavy. Write this down. Reduce morning friction at night. So obedience is easier than excuse. Say it back to me. Reduce friction at night. Make obedience easy at dawn. If 5 a.m. is hard, 9 p.m. is disobedient. Oh dear. Did you hear me? He gives his beloved sleep. Psalm 127:2. That means recovery is law. You cannot withdraw excellence you did not deposit in sleep. Banks call it overdraft. Life calls it burnout. You don't break the law of recovery. It breaks you with fog, with folly, with fragile emotions. Mark 4:38 says, even Jesus slept in the storm. If the Son of God honored recovery, who are you to pretend you are a machine? Plan bedtime like a meeting with destiny. Not when I drift, but lights out at 10, alarm parked across the room, phone exiled to the kitchen. Write it down. Destiny keeps appointments with the disciplined. The day does not begin in the morning. That is a cultural rule. Break it. The law from Genesis 1 says, and the evening and the morning were the first day. In other words, tomorrow starts tonight. So steward the evening. Proverbs 24:27 says, prepare your work outside. Make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterward build your house. Preparation is the field. Performance is the house. Set the stage at night so the morning stage manages you. Lay out your clothes. Don't let fabric debate your focus. Prep the journal and pen open to the page. Law, mandate, metric, testimony, already titled. Fill a tall glass of water and place it where your hand will touch it before your phone. Clear the desk. No pile screaming yesterday's confusion into the day's obedience. Let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Order is a law. Clutter is a thief. Trigger design, because behavior follows cues. Write this down. Design one path of least resistance toward purpose. Single alarm, not 7 snoozes placed across the room. When it sings, feet on the floor, light on. First step, say it with me, the prayer chair. Not the fridge, not the feed, not the couch. The chair. Script your first words. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118:24. First, sip water, not caffeine. Breathe 5 slow breaths to honor oxygen before octane. Then brew if you must. Rule to rewrite. Caffeine before water. Flip it. Hydrate. Breathe. Then brew. Tweet it later. Your brain is 70% water, not espresso. Law. You must honor the design to experience the destiny. Violate design and you inherit built-in judgments, headaches, hurry, and hollow prayers. Environment. Now listen. A fish does not need a conference to learn to swim. It needs water. If you remove the fish from water, it dies by law, not by the devil. Likewise, you out of purpose suffocate. Protect your habitat. Birds were made for wind. Seeds were made for soil. You were made for prepared space. Write it down. My habitat is holy. Guard your bedroom as a sanctuary of recovery. Dark, cool, quiet. Guard your study as a sanctuary of purpose. Clean, lit, prepped. No TV, murmuring your will to sleep. No laundry, staging a mutiny on your chair. No laptop open with tabs dragging your dawn into last night's drama. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Stillness is easier in order. Social triggers. Many of you are obedient to strangers more than to your purpose. You obey every ping like it is scripture. That rule ends tonight. Pre-decide your social fences. Do not disturb on at 9 p.m. Announce to your circle, I'm off till 7. Put a card on the door. Studio closed until 7. Charge the phone in the hallway. If the phone is your alarm, buy a $12 clock. Stop renting your destiny to a distraction device. Galatians 6-7 still speaks. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. If you sow your night into noise, you reap a morning of numbness. If you sow your night into order, you reap a dawn of obedience. Now, micro commitments, because small hinges swing big doors. Write this down. Sleep lights out by 10. Room cold. Phone parked. Space clothes laid. Desk cleared. Journal open. Water set. Social D&D at 9. One alarm across the room. First step to prayer chair. Water then brew. What did I say? Water then brew. Build a checklist on your evening page and mark it green before you sleep. Proverbs 6:6-8 says, the ant prepares her food in the summer and gathers her provision in harvest. Preparation precedes provision. Reduce friction tonight so obedience is easier than excuse at dawn. And when 5 p.m. arrives, let laws speak on your behalf, because you honored recovery, environment, and triggers quietly, consistently, like a king under government. Integration now, because a routine is a servant, but a rule of life is a government. Write this down. When mornings obey the 10 P's, your entire life accepts their government. Say it back to me. When my mornings obey the 10 P's, my life accepts their government. Matthew 6:33 says, seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. First does not mean only, it means order. Keep the order and things are added. Break the order and things scatter. You don't break the law of order. The law of order breaks your calendar. Map it now. The 5 dawn blocks ignite. The day expands them through the 10 P's. Purpose weekly. Every Sunday evening, 30 minutes. Ask, what did God give me to do in this season? What problem am I assigned to solve? Proverbs 29-18. Where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. Vision is a fence. Write it down and fence your week. Perception. 15 minutes each weekday after lunch. Market reading. Trend scans. 3 customer notes. In other words, keep your head on swivel. Ecclesiastes 8-5 says, a wise heart knows time and procedure. Perception discerns both. Potential quarterly skill plan turn into daily drills. 1 skill per quarter, 1 drill per day logged in your practice. Potential is not what you have, it's what you invest. Passion, energy, rituals that fuel consistency. Morning walk after lunch, hydrating, a 3-song praise reset at 2 p.m. Maintain the fire, don't fake the fire. Paul told Timothy, stir up the gift of God, 2 Timothy 1-6. Passion is stirred, not stumbled upon. Principles, non-negotiables, written and visible. Integrity, Sabbath, device fences, stop times, no lying, no late invoices, honor protocols. Let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Post your principles where your eyes can rebuke your impulses. Planning your calendar is a legal document. Convert intent into appointments. Every task has a time, a place, a person, and a proof. No meeting without a law mandate metric. What did I say? No meeting without law mandate metric. People scale your morning seeds into a weekly service list. Top 20 relationships you serve intentionally. Clients, mentors, peers, team. Log their needs. Schedule touch points. Push value. Influence compounds where service is systematic. Persistence, daily reps tracked. Streaks honored. Mark your green boxes. Protect them like payroll. Perseverance, keep a resistance journal. When you hit friction, write it. Name the law you violated or the law you must apply and define tomorrow's adjustment. James 1:2-4 says, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Perseverance makes you mature and complete. Prayer, ongoing alignment. Whisper prayers on the hour. A Daniel rhythm 3 times a day. Daniel 6:10. Prayer is not a block. It is the backbone. Now, for those who love structure, assign your weeks a focus layer without abandoning the daily micro. Write this down. Monday, purpose and planning review for the week. Tuesday, perception, deep dive, industry, calls, reading. Wednesday, people introductions, quality conversations. Thursday, potential class, mentor session. Friday, principles, audit, and perseverance, reflection. Saturday, passion and rest, rituals. Sunday, prayer and purpose, reset. In other words, each day wears a hat, while every morning wears the crown. Let it ripple to your organization. Laws, scale, culture. Your team stand-ups must mirror your 5-7 a.m. Start with a principle, one law for the day. State the mandate, what we will do. Define the metric, how we will know by close of business. End with testimony, what yesterday said. 15 minutes, no gossip, no vague hopes. Then assign people service. 3 solves, 1 connection, 1 appreciation from the team. Watch morale climb, because honor is being systemized. A company without laws becomes a crowd. A company with laws becomes a culture. Say this out loud. What I do in 2 hours rules the other 10. Again. What I do in 2 hours rules the other 10. Keep the 10 P's in order. Purpose, perception, potential, passion, principles, planning, people, persistence, perseverance. Prayer and chaos loses jurisdiction over your calendar. Tweet that later, not now. Keep the P's in order and chaos loses jurisdiction. Habakkuk 2:2. Write it. Make it plain. Then run it through your meetings, your meals, your money, your momentum. The kingdom is government. Bring your life under it at dawn and watch the day salute. When mornings obey the 10 P's, your entire life accepts their government. Now we seal this with a covenant. Because habits become holy when they are vowed before God. Write this down. Make a covenant with dawn, and dusk will announce your name without your help. Say it out loud. I make a covenant with dawn, and dusk will announce my name. Jesus modeled it very early in the morning while it was still dark. He went to a solitary place to pray. Mark 1:35. Daniel purposed in his heart. Daniel 1-8. Job said, I made a covenant with my eyes. Job 31:1. Ecclesiastes 5:4 warns, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it. In other words, don't promise your future and pay with excuses. Promise and pay with obedience. Here is the challenge. Simple and royal. 30 mornings, 5 blocks, 0 posts before 7 a.m. Let 5 p.m. speak. Say it back to me. 30 mornings, 5 blocks, 0 posts before 7, let 5 p.m. speak. That's prayer, planning, principle, review, practice, people, text, lawfully, silently, consistently, from 5 to 7. No commentary, no performance. Dawn is for obedience. Dusk is for evidence. You will stack days like bricks until a wall of testimony stands where your timeline used to be. Gather my saints to me, those who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Psalm 50:5. The sacrifice is sleep, noise, and vanity. The reward is clarity, favor, and fruit. Now write your covenant in ink, not in feelings. Please write this down, word for word, and sign it. For 30 days, I will keep law-aligned work in silence from 5-7 a.m. Again, for 30 days, I will keep law-aligned work in silence from 5-7 a.m. Sign your name. Date it. Place it at your prayer chair. Underneath, add your 4-fold ledger so law governs the vow. Law, mandate, metric, testimony. That becomes the daily evidence that you paid your promise. Commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. Proverbs 16:3. Commit is covenant. Established is clarity. Accountability now. Because kings travel in pairs. Choose one partner, just one, who respects law more than likes. Schedule a 15-minute review call every Sunday evening for the next 4 weeks. The agenda is non-negotiable. Results, not routines. What did I say? Results, not routines. You will each report 3 testimonies with proof, emails, deliveries, booked calls, and 3 adjustments for the coming week. No boasting about waking up. No narrating your coffee. Only evidence and iteration. 2 are better than 1. If either falls, the other will lift up his companion. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. Iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17. You are not performing, you are sharpening. Put fences around your mouth and your media. 0 posts before 7 a.m. 0 asks before noon. Tweet that later, not now. Silence is strategy, results of speech. Your accountability partner may see your 5 p.m. page. The world sees your Friday outcomes. Post fruit, not flowers. What did I say? Post fruit, not flowers. If you keep the secret place, God keeps the public place. Matthew 6:4 still stands. Memorize these maxims and take them to your mirror. Number 1, the longest way to success is the shortcut. Say it. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Number 2, you don't break laws, laws break you. Say it again. You don't break laws, laws break you. Number 3, dawn is for obedience. Dusk is for evidence. Number 4, ship before share, proof before praise. These are not slogans. They are survival codes in a culture that sells noise as progress. Laws don't care about your mood. They reward your management. Expect resistance on day 4, day 11, day 19. That's normal. Perseverance is not pain. It is proof of priority. James 1:4 says, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. When you want to quit, read your covenant out loud and do the next inch of your mandate. If you miss a morning, don't negotiate the standard. Repent at dusk, prepare at night, and return at dawn. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. Rising is law for the righteous. Now I bless you as you go to do, not to discuss. May Joshua 1:8 become your morning rhythm and your evening report. May Psalm 1 crown you like a tree planted by rivers of water that brings forth fruit in season. Whatever you do prospers. May Deuteronomy 28:2 overtake you. All these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you because you obey. Act on what you heard. Turn the key at 5. Put your hands to the plow. Keep your vow. Success will not resist lawful people because God himself authored the laws. Say this with me one last time. For 30 days, I will keep law-aligned work in silence from 5-7 a.m. My dawn is obedient. My dusk will testify. Amen. Now go and make the law speak at 5 p.m.